The story of Isaac. Have you ever heard the story of Isaac, the promised son, the one through whom God's covenant with Abraham was fulfilled? His life is filled with faith, miracles, and lessons that still speak to us today. Isaac's story begins with his father, Abraham, and his mother, Sarah. For many years, they could not have children, but God had promised Abraham that he would become the father of many nations. When Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90, God performed a miracle. Sarah gave birth to a son, and they named him Isaac, which means laughter, Genesis 21, 1-3. As Isaac grew, he became the center of one of the greatest tests of faith in the Bible. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son. Abraham obeyed, though his heart must have been heavy. At the last moment, God intervened, sparing Isaac's life and providing a ram instead, Genesis 22, 6-13. This act showed Abraham's faith and foreshadowed God's sacrifice of his own son, Jesus. Isaac's life continued under God's blessing. When he was 40 years old, Abraham sent his servant to find a wife for him. The servant prayed, and God answered through a young woman named Rebekah. She showed kindness at the well by offering water for the servant and his camels. Isaac married Rebekah, and the two became parents to twin sons, Esau and Jacob, Genesis 24:25. Isaac's story wasn't without struggles. For many years, Rebekah was barren, but Isaac prayed, and God blessed them with children, Genesis 25:21. The twins grew up very different, Esau, a skillful hunter, and Jacob, a quiet man who stayed among the tents. Isaac favored Esau, while Rebekah favored Jacob, and this would cause conflict later. Isaac also faced challenges with famine. Just like his father Abraham, he trusted God, and God provided for him. Isaac dug wells, and though enemies quarreled over them, he never gave up. God prospered him, and he became very wealthy, Genesis 26:12-22. In his later years, Isaac grew old and nearly blind. It was then that Jacob, with Rebekah's help, deceived him and received the blessing meant for Esau, Genesis 27. Though Isaac had been tricked, God's plan was still at work, for Jacob would become the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. Isaac lived a long life, 180 years. He saw his sons grow into nations. Finally, he died and was buried by his sons Esau and Jacob in the family tomb, alongside Abraham and Sarah, Genesis 35:28-29. Lessons from Isaac's story. 1. God always keeps his promises. Isaac's very birth was proof that nothing is too hard for God. 2. Faith requires trust. Isaac on the altar showed us obedience and trust in God's plan. 3. Prayer changes things. Isaac prayed for Rebekah, and God opened her womb. 4. Blessings come through perseverance. Isaac dug wells even when others opposed him, and God prospered him. 5. God's plan prevails. Even when Isaac was deceived, God's covenant still stood through Jacob. Bible references: Genesis 17:21-22, Genesis 17:21-22, 24:27, 35:28-29. May the Almighty God bless you all. Amen.